Welcome to Production Deployment Components. After watching this video, you will be able to describe components commonly required for deployment in a production environment, describe the purpose of a firewall and a load balancer, and differentiate between different types of servers. Let's consider an N-tier architecture required to deploy an application in a production environment and represent the infrastructure using a diagram. The top tier is the presentation tier, which contains the front-end client applications. All of the other tiers are located behind a firewall. Firewalls and other components mentioned in this diagram will be discussed in further detail later in the video. Now, the next tier is the web tier, which has a web load balancer that distributes incoming traffic to several web servers. The tier below the web tier is the application server tier. This tier contains an app load balancer or a proxy server that routes traffic to different application servers. And the bottom tier is the data tier that contains the database server. A high availability replica of the database is often used to ensure reliability. Some environments may have additional components or tiers. Also, not all of these components are necessary for every deployment. For example, in some environments, there might not be a need for both application servers in addition to web servers. Now, let's look at these components in further detail. A firewall is a security device that monitors traffic between networks. It permits or blocks requested data based on a set of security rules. It acts as a barrier between networks to block viruses, malware, and hackers from accessing the internal network. The purpose of load balancers is to distribute network traffic efficiently among multiple servers, called a server farm, on a network. Load balancers are used to prevent server traffic overload and are located between clients and the servers. A load balancer determines which servers are capable of fulfilling those requirements in a manner that maximizes availability and responsiveness. Load balancers ensure that no one server is overworked. They manage concurrent requests from clients and return the correct data in a fast and reliable manner. Web and application servers are either software or machines that provide services, resources, data, or applications to another computer program called the client. Servers store, process, and manage network data, devices, and systems. A web server delivers content such as web pages, files, images, and videos to a client. And a web server primarily responds to hypertext transfer protocol requests coming from a web browser, such as a user accessing a website. An app server is a server that runs business logic and provides the application to the client rather than the client running the app on their own machine. Its primary job is to enable interaction between the end user and the server-side application code. The application code represents the business logic that determines how data can be created, stored, and changed, and that logic dictates things like transaction results and what data is written to and retrieved from a database. Next, a proxy server is an intermediate server that sits in between two tiers and handles requests between those tiers. A proxy server can serve multiple purposes, such as load balancing, system optimization, caching, acting as a firewall, obscuring the source of the request, encryption, scanning for malware, and more. And a proxy server can improve the efficiency, privacy, and security of data flowing through a network. Finally, a database is a collection of related data stored on a computer that can be accessed in various ways. A database is usually controlled by software, called a database management system, or DBMS. The DBMS controls a database by connecting the database to users or other programs. The database server controls the flow and storage of data. The DBMS connects the database server to an application so data stored in the database can be retrieved or manipulated by the application. In this video, you learned that Common components needed for a production environment include a firewall, a load balancer, web and application servers, proxy servers, and database servers. A firewall is a security device that monitors traffic between networks. A load balancer distributes network traffic among servers. A web server delivers web content, such as web pages, files, images, and videos, to a client. An application server runs business logic and provides the application to the client rather than the client running the app on their own machine. And finally, a database server stores and controls the flow of data through a database management system.